Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Groovy Tuesday. Fingers crossed the sound will be all good. I'll get confirmation from Jilly shortly. How are we all doing? I can see people are tuning in already early to the party. Here everybody comes. Can't see any comments just yet. I know it takes a while for that to filter in. How are we all doing? There we go. Susan Young, good morning. How is everyone doing today? It's another Groovy Tuesday and we're at episode 20. Good morning, Sue. There's the lovely Karen. How's everyone doing? Hope it's a bit cooler where you are today. Sound is good from Jilly. There you all come. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, it's a lot cooler down here in Kent. It's a bit overcast, but I've got the fan on underneath, a nice short sleeve shirt on because it's very warm in the room here. How's everyone doing? I hope you're getting a bit of respite from it was very muggy in the night last night. But yeah, once my head was on that pillow, that was it. I was out for the count. So yes, it's another Groovy Tuesday in the shack. Stay home and craft, safe, happy, and creative. Wow. Yeah. And we've got the lovely Linda joining us again later this morning. She's in the wings waiting, but I thought we'd wait until 10 o'clock until everybody's on board. Good morning, good morning. We've got the lovely Nancy from the States. We've got Josie Davidson. Super duper. I mean, that's my word, super duper. Oh, Katie had the fire on last night. It got chilly. Oh, whereabouts are you, Katie? There we go. Jilly's in the room. If you've got any questions or you're looking for anything, then just ask away and Jilly will pop the links in for you. So I think we're at 10 o'clock and I think we're all good to go. So what we're going to do, I'm going to bring Linda in and so that Linda can say good morning to you as well. So here we go, become a director now. And there we go.
Good morning,
good morning,
everybody.
Linda.
Good morning, Paul. You okay?
Yes, all good. Very, very okay. Yes, yes. I learned so much last week with that beautiful shading.
That's good. Yeah, we had. I've noticed that people have been putting their work up on Facebook. Do share if you've done a little piece to see how you're getting on, and I'm seeing some really good soft shading coming on there. Yeah.
It's really nice. I mean, as I found last week, doing that first one and then going on to the second one, it was that warm-up exercise, wasn't it?
Yes. And it's only a small little piece, but don't be afraid to post it for us to see. It'd be nice to encourage others to have a little go as well, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you missed last week's episode, then you can always go back and watch it on our YouTube channel as well. So, you'll never, don't think because you can't watch us live, then you can always go back and watch it on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, so and you could do a little bit and post it on Facebook and ask questions. I'm always there. You copy me in and I'll answer your questions. So, and it'd be nice to know if you want to see any particular techniques moving forward. So just send me a message. I'll make a list and I'll get to them sometime.
That could be a very long list, Linda. You could probably write a book with what people want to know, because there is so much to learn, isn't there? With Groovi and parchment, it's one of those crafts where you progress and you sort of build up your skills.
I think that's what's so good about it. You can always learn more. I learn off lots of people. I watch people demonstrating now, and I think, I sometimes when I teach classes, the student will do something, and I'll say, "Well, how did you do that?" And I didn't know that. You can pick things up all the time. Yeah.
Absolutely. As they say, we're always learning, aren't we?
Definitely. Yeah.
So,
particularly in this craft, it's not a craft where you've got it all in a couple of weeks. you've learned it all, and then you can't go any further. This one, it's changing all the time as well. It's changing with the Groovi plates and what we're bringing out, and there's some exciting stuff at the go.
Linda, don't. we'll get into trouble if we reveal any secrets.
I know. You can blame me.
So I thought I would just have a quick recap from last week, and I just wanted to, if you missed out, I mean, last week on the craft store, formerly known as Hochanda, we launched those beautiful duet grids, the Prince grids from Josie. And if I just wanted to just flick through on my overhead, so if you missed out, I've got mine in a folder to see what they were all about. So we did the 4 princes. We had William, we had Harry, Philip, and then Albert. And what I love about what Josie does is that she gives us all our instructions as well to make it so more achievable. And I mean, Linda, you've done grid work in the past, and you know how difficult it can be and how easy it can be to make a mistake.
Oh, definitely. The straight one is easier than the diagonal. And I remember going to teachers' workshops, and we do some complicated pattern, transfer it onto the diagonal grid, and not one of the teachers could actually get round to the very end without making a mistake. Diagonal is really easy. It's really difficult to translate from a paper pattern onto your parchment. It's like counted cross stitch, really. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, miss 4, emboss 4, and you can really tie yourself up in knots. But these are amazing. All the hard work's been done. Josie does an amazing job. Yeah, absolutely.
And I've got a couple of samples just to show you that we showcased during the one-day special. So again, you can go back and look on the craft store on Catch Up just to see how these were created. I mean, the beautiful designer parchment. Here, look, we've got the lovely paisley that we're working on as well. Really sort of just nice to, I think this one's my favorite, this actual design. I love the geometrics of it.
Yeah, I like that one too.
See, and you have that versatility of extending it as well.
Yeah.
And then combined with the new plate mate that we launched in the Groovi Tuesday last week, that certainly went a little bit mad, and on the TV.
So, that's lovely, that one. It's simply elegant, the little pink one.
Yes.
Not lovely. It's so
and
elegant.
That's just using just a corner, isn't it, of the plate. And then the plate mate that we launched last week in the Groovi Tuesday. Oh, let me zoom out a little bit. Let's get this right that way. Right, there we go. So we've got the 2-parter plate mate there, which comes in 2 parts. But then the bonus part of it was you got the extender bars to make it bigger to fit your A4 plates, Linda.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah.
See?
It's so much easier. I'm using it all the time now. Yeah,
it's one of those essentials, isn't it? That it's like the plate mate from the starter kit.
Definitely. And all those little elements can be used alone. They can be equally pretty just on one little border. You don't have to go all the way around, know.
And I think
with
that's
no mistakes.
I was going to say, that's the versatility of the Groovi system, being able to adapt and to lengthen, decrease, and really sort of just choose elements from it quite easily.
Yes. I love the versatility of the Groovi system. Because I generally work, I'll do something in the middle. I don't have a plan. I wish I did, but I those of you that have joined the Groovi Club will know I'm a little bit random with my instructions, because I haven't got a plan. I add to as I go along. So everybody works.
Really? So that's how you come up with your designs. You do something and then it adapts as it grows.
Yes. And that's how I design as well. It takes me ages to design a plate, because I put something in the middle or on the edge, and I think, where am I going to go now? So I put things in, take things out, put things in, take things Does it come naturally?
Well, that does surprise me. I mean, your beautiful artwork, and we've got something coming up later during the hour that I'm going to give you a sneak peek of from the Pergamano show on Thursday, but I'm going to keep you waiting right towards the end for that. So are we ready then, Linda? Are we gonna
Yeah.
carry on with that beautiful, delicate white
Definitely.
works.
I'll switch
So
my screen now so that you can see what I'm looking at, yes?
Okay, and I'm going to switch you so that you're the main focus. There we go. I'm down in the
middle now,
bottom.
yes. I'll just go through
Yep.
what we did last week. So this
Okay.
is how we worked last week. We took one of the little paisley shapes, we drew a white line down the middle, and then we started to emboss on the back with a 6mm ball tool. And we kept on going from the bottom up and the top down with a little bit of a gap in the middle. And there's number 5. You can see it's getting whiter and whiter and whiter. All this with a 6mm ball tool. We didn't change and use a different ball tool until the very end. So I just wanted to show that again. We created that little vein in the middle, and we did one where we embossed the top and embossed the bottom only, so that it enabled us to put a little bit of colour. I didn't manage to get to that one. We were so busy with our 6mm ball tool, which is your best friend, really. So this week, I'm going to go one step further, and I'm going to show you how to turn one of those little paisley shapes into a leaf, a real proper looking leaf with lots of shading. So we're going one step further now by introducing these little side veins. So we still got the vein up the middle.
Yeah.
And we've got the side veins here. Okay, now let me explain to you with a piece of paper exactly where I'm going to be embossing. So if I was to draw, let me change my glasses. That helps, doesn't it? I'm doing a Barbara here. So, got a leaf there.
Okay, so this is the paisley, yeah.
Yeah, it's on one of the paisley shapes, and I'll show you which one in a minute. So we're going to draw a white line down the middle as we did before, okay? And then we want to get in this, I'll put that there. We want to get in this shading, okay? It's not quite the same shape, but when we do this, if you think of a leaf, yeah, there's a cross section of a leaf. It generally comes down into the vein, doesn't it? And it curls like that. It's a bit exaggerated, but that's a cross section of a leaf if you cut across it. If you cut across that way, say, and cut the leaf dissected, it would look like that. Different leaves curve differently. But if you were to shine the light from that direction, the light would hit that bit and that bit, wouldn't it? So that bit and that bit would be in shade. Agreed?
Yeah.
Is that clear? Yeah. So that's what we're aiming for here. Okay.
Okay.
So
yeah. Perfect.
The mistake that people make. Let's try another one quickly. Oh, that's dreadful. The mistake people make is when you emboss. Some people they'll emboss this side and they'll go like that, and they do their embossing, and then they'll come and do this side, and what they'll do is they'll do it the same way.
Right.
It happens with and what I want you to do is to draw in your veins so that you can see which way really you should be embossing. Okay, that's the curve. So when we emboss this one, we emboss this side from the outside edge in, and we emboss that one from the center vein out. So you can see why people make that mistake. So when they turn in their parchment, they're not quite sure which way they should be going. So you should always aim for your embossing to create a V with this sort of leaf.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you've got a different leaf, let me show you on this. I've got it on there. So, right, if I show you this one. Forget the flowers now, let's go to the leaves. If I show you this. With this one, you can see it's exactly the same as what I've done here, but in a smaller version. The shadow's there and there. So I've embossed from that side in and from that side out. If you've got a leaf like this, it's different. You're embossing from the tip down. It's a different type of leaf altogether. But I want to show you how to get that type of leaf.
Wow.
Yeah? Okay?
Absolutely. Yeah, brilliant.
So what you've been demonstrating in the past, Paul, is solid white embossing. And now we're going to be doing a lot of shading. Okay?
Okay, so is there a technical term? Is this called shadow white work?
Shadow embossing. Yeah.
Shadow embossing.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to get my Groovi plate, and you need a strip of parchment now, or a spare little piece of parchment. We're only going to do one.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to be using, let's see if I can find it now, this one here. So if I was to turn my plate around, I've got Groovi on the bottom. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I can't see it that way. I'll do it that way.
Okay.
We're going to be doing that way anyway. We'll just turn the piece of parchment around when we're ready to do it.
So it's the one that looks like the strawberry.
That's right, but we're going to do the one that's next to it, the bigger one. So can you see that line there? That's the one I'm going to be embossing. There's a double outline there. I'm going to be embossing the middle one. Can you see? But what you've got to make sure is they are joined there, so be very careful you don't go into the wrong one. So I'm going to be doing that one there. The one that goes around. So it's not the outer one, it's the next one in.
Yeah.
All right? And I'm going to be doing it with a number 2 Groovi tool. So we can get the parchment and our Groovi tabs. And somebody asked me last week why I wasn't using a Groovi guard. Reason being is I wanted everybody to see what I was doing, and I'm only working on a scrap anyway, so if I was doing this for a project, I would use my Groovi guard, definitely. And I knew my hands were clean, so I just washed them. So rub it over with your tumble dryer sheet, and you need to take your number 2 Groovi tool, and can you see the one I'm doing? Very, very lightly.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it a little bit heavier so that you can see, but the lighter you can do it, the better. Watch that join there. Be careful. And I'm doing it so lightly, I'm slipping out, but that doesn't matter. So you only need to do one. I'm going to do another one in case I need to show you something on the other one. It's better than my rubbish leaves that I drew by hand. Tumble dryer sheet. Number 2 Groovi tool all the way around. Watch the little dink. And around that way. There we are. That's all. Okay. With me so far, yeah. Put that to one side. Now then, what I'm going to do is draw in the vein, much like I showed you last week, with a white pencil.
And we're doing this on the front or the back, Linda?
It doesn't matter. You're going to be rubbing it out anyway, so it really doesn't matter. It's where you can see it best.
Okay.
If you do it on the front, it's a little bit paler. I'll do mine on the front now, and then you can see. Okay, so it's on the front. I'm going to go from the tip and put in my centre vein. Now, if you're not sure about, don't do it in one sweep. Sketch it in. And you can always rub it out if you don't like where you've put it. Okay, and now I'm going to put in that V. Now then, when you draw in these side veins, go along the one you've just drawn and sweep it out. Okay, and another one. And another one. And wherever's comfortable for you, I think I'll go that way. Draw it in again on the other side. There we are. Okay, I'll do another one there now for you to see. So sketch in your center vein. And when you're a bit more skilled at doing this, you'll be able to do it without the lines. You get your eye in and you'll automatically know which way you should be embossing.
Right, okay.
Okay, so ready for embossing. Let's take these away. So I'm going to be embossing from the outer edge in, that way, and then from the inner edge out. And do you remember last week when we did the embossing? The lines are very, very close together.
Yeah.
And you need to get onto that center line. When you're doing this side, you need to get onto that center line without a gap. So the gap is going to be this side. Choose which side your gap is going to be. Okay, I'll explain that as we go along now. So we need a 6mm ball tool.
Yeah.
We're going to do as much as we can with this now. And on the back. Okay. Now I'm going to start my embossing from the vein outwards.
Okay.
On this side. It's not to which side you do it. You could do it from the vein outwards that side and then reverse it on the other side. So what I need to do is I'm going to get the ball tool exactly on that line there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start from that vein there. So remember now, it's a press and a flick away from you. Or some people prefer to do it towards themselves. It's up to you, whichever way you get the best result. So we're going to do really, really pale embossing. And the strokes need to be so close together that you cannot see a gap.
Okay.
I can hardly see it. Can you see it? See how pale it is? It's really, really pale. That is the first emboss.
Okay.
Because if you go in heavy at this stage, you might be able to get away with going in heavy later on. But if you go in heavy at this stage, all you're going to get is lots of lines and it's not going to be tidy. Okay, so I'm going to start on the vein and I'm going to work my way around and I'm taking the curve of the vein. Okay, and as I get to this bit here, I'm going to start to curve it around a bit. If you find you've got a little gap, fill it in, but do try not to get any gaps. And then I'm going to move up and do the other one, the next one up. So I'm going to start from the vein there again, but when I get to this point here, I'm going to leave that gap. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm starting on the vein. Very, very slowly. I'm going to do my strokes a little bit more solidly because I think you might have trouble seeing this actually. And then I'm going to move up. So I've left a gap.
Yeah.
I've left a gap. Yeah, can see that?
Yeah, can see that.
Right. So I'm going to go to the next one. And I'm going to start at the top again. Sweeping out as far as you can. You may not get to that line. It's a bit difficult to actually get to that line. And I'll show you how to deal with that later. Okay. And then there, you can either start at the top or you can start at the vein. It's quite a small area. You can get the 6mm ball tool in there, I promise you. If you're struggling, go down to your 4.5, but please don't press hard with that yet. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to leave a little gap. Doesn't matter if the gap's too big. And I'm going to come up, and I'm going to angle it a bit so I'm coming up to that point, because it's difficult to do those short strokes in such a small area. And then I'm going to turn it around, and now I'm going to do this side. But this side, I'm going to work from the outside edge in, okay? So I'm still starting from that vein, and I'm still going to leave a gap on the left-hand side. So keep the curve of the vein. Remember now, some long strokes and some short strokes. You don't want all these strokes ending in the same place. And then as I get round there to the end of that, I'm going to curve it slightly so that it fills in the end of the leaf there. Got that? How are we doing, Paul?
Yeah. My first one was a little bit dodge, but I've got more into the flow of it now. So
isn't that always the same though? It always happens, doesn't it? When I start my embossing, the first one's never very good. That was a bit rubbish too. I didn't get my hand in this morning. So long and short. Now leave that gap. And please don't worry if it's too wide. We'll sort it out later. So I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to come from the vein and see that the curves are getting a little bit more now as you're going up to the smaller bits. So that curves a little bit more than that curve. So as you're coming round, adjust it a little so that you're going along the flow, the vein of the leaf. And with this one, I'm going to leave my gap, and I'm going to start there because it's a smaller area. And as you turn around, turn your parchment, adjust it so that you're softly filling in that area. Okay, now let's show you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. See that? Wow.
Practice. Don't look at that one. That's the one. All right. So that was my first one, and I went a bit heavy in the middle. Can you see? So just feeling my way there. So there's a little bit heavy. So you can see I got some long strokes, some short strokes, but you can see it's very white where I started, and then it pales into the grey of the parchment. So you can't see. You can see where I started, but you can't see where I ended. Really, that's the way to try and do it. Okay. So we're going to do it again. I think I might, show you the piece that I've done. So we'll do it again. So with same amount of pressure, so starting at the vein, sweeping around. See if I can correct my heavy hand there. And then
I think it's just remembering not to go right up to that line, isn't it? So that it creates that...
the vein. Yeah, you've got to remember. And as I said last week, if you cover it at this stage, don't worry, because you can go in with the smaller tools later and recreate that. It might not be as dark in there as you'd wanted it to be, but you can still create that vein. Obviously, if you've gone in too heavy with the smaller tools, then you will lose it then. So you keep on going up. Still with me? Yeah?
Yep, still here.
I'm conscious of going too fast because I'm quite a quick embosser. And there's no harm. So you turn it round and then you start from the outside edge in, okay? And so you're creating now that V shape. Yeah? So, nice and soft, some long, some short. And it'll be at this point, you will see other people that have done it for a long time will be creating even more shadow within this by leaving a few gaps. So if I was to show you, something's going on.
Have you got your fire alarm going off, Linda?
It's my fault. I put it on airplane mode. Somebody is trying to sell me something, I think. It's not anybody I know, so don't worry, you will ignore it. Don't you get a lot of these rogue phone calls now? Oh my goodness.
Oh, no.
So if I leave a little gap there now as well, and just show you, just for to put. So if I show you that one, so if you look there, I'm creating further shading then. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's up to you how much shading you put in. So that shading there now is a little bit lighter than that shading there because I've already given it one coat.
Right.
Okay,
yes.
so it's very dark there because I haven't touched it at all. But it's a little bit, so you can, when you're doing, say, roses, for instance, and you want to put in the little dimples or the folds in the petal, it's crucial at what point you start putting them in, because you need all these colours in your embossing. You need the grey of the parchment, and you need the pale grey, and the pale grey, the paler grey, and the very, very bright white. And that's what gives you, but what you don't want is the grey all over and no white, and what you don't want is the white all over and hardly any grey. So you've got to have a nice combination of all of them. So I'll just do the top bit now.
So if I show you what I've done, Linda, let me just, I'll bring mine in on the, I'll just swip the camera just so that people at home, let me just grab that. So I'm going to bring me in. So if I bring this up to that camera, so you can see where I've gone a little bit too heavy.
Yeah. And those veins are a little bit on the thick side. But once you get used to using the large ball tool, you'll know that you can bring it over a little bit more, you know, and close it up a little bit more. But we can close it up later on. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, there we go. Back to you.
Right, so we do it again. And remember, sorry, what did you going to say?
It is a process, isn't it? And it's just getting that confidence.
Definitely. And I wouldn't go much further than this on a first emboss. I wouldn't be doing this one now, this third. I do two, maybe at a push, of very pale ones. And then I probably would leave it rest, and probably overnight. So I'm back on the vein and working my way down and leaving the gap. You've got to keep telling yourself to leave the gap. And I'd be interested to hear from anybody that's actually experienced the bounce that I talked about last week. Did anybody do it for a week? Was anybody as sad as I am? Yeah, it'd be good if someone was to feel, I'll explain it again. If you leave your parchment and do a little bit every day, your parchment will shrink back and it will be more springy the next day. And by the end, your parchment you'll feel a sort of bounce in your parchment. And at that point, it would allow you to go down to the smaller tools and emboss it a little bit more, but not until you've done this with the larger tools. If I was to go in now and try and do this with a smaller tool, all I'd have would be a load of stripes. I'm going to cover that now, that gap that I left. So you can see it's starting to get wetter. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. If I bring my finished piece in. Okay, now then. Number one. 6mm ball 3 times. Okay. Number 2, 6mm ball, an extra 2 times. Number 3, 6mm ball, another 2 times. I've done this over a period of 5 days. And number 4, I've gone down to the 4.5mm ball tool and I've done it twice. So you can see how much whiter it's starting to get there now. Okay.
So that's 9 layers of shading.
9 layers of shading, yeah.
So I was using my fingers as you was doing it.
Yeah. So So you've got that nice bit of shading down the centre. And here, you haven't got anything of you really, apart, unless you've got your white line showing. I did it so pale. But in the context of a floral design where you've got a bunch of roses with some leaves and things, the eye will fill that in.
Right.
You don't need to see that, because when you've got a big picture, you won't see that bit is missing.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I've done this.
And can you get we've got a couple of questions, Linda. Can you get the same effect with the shading tools?
Yes,
I know a lot of people at home would have the shading tools.
Yes, you can. You can. And I'll cover the shading tools another day. I haven't got one with me now, I don't think. Do you want me to show the shading tools?
If you've got them to hand.
I've got my Groovi bag here. A pink bag, and I think I've got one in there.
It's amazing what you can fit in those pink bags, isn't it, Linda?
Oh, yes. No, in my luck now. I've got them. Yeah. Have we still got the 2 sizes of shaders, Paul?
I think we've got the 1 size at the moment.
Okay.
So, but I know a lot of people at home will have those. And
well,
Jason, and I think Glyn in the blog on Sunday, on the Clarity Matters blog, it was being used at that point as well.
Okay, yeah. So if I bring that in. So I've got my same principle, use the largest one you've got.
Yeah.
Okay. And with the shader, now I go in reverse for the shader. Instead of flicking away, I like to pull it towards me.
And is that in the spoon or the fork position you're holding that?
Definitely the spoon. If you use the fork, you'll get really solid lines. It acts as a really small ball tool, really. Can you see that? So that way.
Yeah. So you're using it as,
for the top one.
Yeah.
And that way for the bottom one.
Right.
You can actually run it along a ruler and create a line with it if you wanted to. So if I got my Groovi ruler. It gives you a nice soft line.
Ah, well, that's good. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And you can do I'm throwing my tools all over the place. But I will do a couple of demos of these. You can make some lovely so it's a pull towards you, and you start at the edge and it gets paler as you flick it off. Some people might be able to get to the edge with this one better than the ball tool. Some people love the shaders more and they prefer, but it's a lot it's not quicker, it's a lot harsher than the ball tool. Is softer then, I think, but be careful not to press too hard, so you can actually create some lovely effects with this. You can create some fronds and I haven't practiced that. It's probably rubbish.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
lovely.
You've got the ability to actually go from something straight into something softer. You can with the one tool, you can actually keep a tip and create a shape.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you wouldn't be able to do that with a ball tool, not really.
Right, okay. I suppose it's that the angle in which you're sort of using it.
Yes, yes. So, well, like I said, keep on adding your layers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'll do a few more now, and then I'll go down to the smaller tools. And
Okay.
How to darken it a bit. So back with a 6mm ball tool.
Yeah.
And another layer.
And are you extending the area that you're working on, or are you trying to keep within that same area in relation to the
I'm
length?
trying to keep within the same area because I haven't quite got it white enough yet.
Okay.
I'm going to, in the next layer now, I'm going to start getting a little bit smaller. And remember I said about the gap there. If you don't like that gap, well, all you've got to do, if you don't like that gap, all you've got to do is start from the edge, okay, and go down to meet it. But do it gently and make sure that your lines are curving in the same way. Don't let straight lines meet a nice curve. Don't spoil your curves. So just to introduce a little bit more shading. That is, if you don't know, I like the gap. I think it's more interesting.
It gives that proper, for me, I find it gives it, looking at what you've done, it gives that more natural looking light coming in.
Yes, yeah. So, yeah, you know, it's more solid now, isn't it? Because you've got rid of that gap. Yeah. So it's a matter of choice, Paul, isn't it? You know. So I'm going to go do that once more. I think I've done that one once, haven't I? So I'll go to this side, and I'll do this one a little bit more, nice and gentle, no gaps. And what I find as well is some people are not quite coming to the line, and what happens then is you've got a gap, you've got your white line there, and then you've got a grey gap. Very easily done if you're a beginner, because it's hard to know where the ball tool comes down. So if you do that, draw yourself a straight line across your parchment and just practice. Just practice. And if you've got that gap, so I'll leave a gap there now. If you've got that gap, come down a little bit, and then come down a little bit, and then oops, you've gone too far. So the more you do along that straight line, you'll get it. And I always say, little bit of embossing every day, and it'll come out straight. So you can see there.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Can you see the gap?
So yeah, you can see. So it's just getting the practice, isn't it, of where to position the ball tool to start with. And
there I went a bit too far. So try and avoid that gap if you can.
Okay. So I've been working just on one side of mine now.
Okay.
I'm gonna let's have a look, see what you think. Yeah. So I'll swap that over.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's
so I think I've managed to close up the veins, but it probably still needs a little bit more.
Little bit more, yes.
Yeah, but you can sort of see
nice and smooth, Paul. It's nice and smooth, and you need to concentrate a little bit more on getting more long and more short.
Right. Okay.
Right? So that it doesn't all end in the same place.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I can understand. Yeah.
So I'm going to do one more now, and then I'm going to move on to the 4.5. You know how many you need to do. You can see. What if we post this somewhere, Paul? Would we be able to? If I sent it to you, maybe Jim could take a really good picture, and we could put it somewhere, couldn't we? So that people can
we could pop it on. We can put it on Groovi Worldwide for people to have a look at.
Yes. Yeah, and then you can see, I'll link those in for you to know exactly how many, and I'll send it up to Jim, yeah?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, right, okay then. So, Let's do one more coat. And then we'll move on to the 4.5. So as I'm coming around here, remember now you're taking the shape of that edge. So some long, some short. There we are.
Yeah, so I forgot that part. I forgot the long and the short, the long and the short.
Paul, I've said it so many times. So there's mine. Okay, there's mine now. It's starting to get darker. I think I probably will have got it. Oh, a bit further than that, really. I probably will have got it to there. Okay, so I've got it to that stage with the 6mm ball tool, whereas I've used the 4.5 now. It's up to you where you bring it in, you know. Right, okay, so now then, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to rub up my pencil lines. So I'll show it to you. There it is with my pencil lines.
Yeah.
And this is the magic part, when you actually rub out your pencil lines, especially when you haven't got a really hard white outline. This is the best bit of shadow embossing, is the rubbing out. There we are. It's better now, look.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they're really defined, aren't they?
Yeah. I'll bring it forward. It's a bit blurred, is it?
Yeah, no, I think we can.
Is that all right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to take this 6mm and I'm going to close up those veins a little bit because they're a little bit too thick for my liking. So just push it over ever so slightly. If you feel you can't do this, then just leave it. Now, I've not got my magnifier with me, so I do all my embossing with a magnifier.
Right.
My eyes are not that good nowadays, so and you can really see then where your ball is going down on the parchment. So if you're struggling, get yourself a decent magnifier and do all your work. I got work on some of those things that I wear on my head too, but it's too warm for those. I look like an optician. I really need an optician. I had a letter through the post to say that I needed my eyes tested, and I thought, yeah, true, that's right. And I haven't had them done for 2 years, and I thought, God, it seemed like I only had them done last year. Where did that 2 years go?
No, it sure has been. Yeah, it's gone strange, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to use now the 4.5mm ball tool, which is the next one down, and I'm going to do a little bit less this time. You can always add more later on. What I always say is keep checking the front. So I'm going to do some long, some short. Keep checking the front, because what you see on the back isn't always what it looks like on the front. Why that is, I do not know.
It must be the translucency of the parchment.
Could be. And I'm going to do it the other side. So you can close those veins up even more with this tool. If you can't do it with a 6mm, try it with this one. Some long, still some long, some short, okay? Don't be tempted to do them all the same length.
You really get lost in it, don't you?
You do, yeah. And it's at this point you could do a little bit more if you like. Let's show you. Here we are. There we are. Can you see it's starting to get much whiter now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So if I do it one more time, and I think we'll just to put the finishing touches on. So I'm going to introduce now a few longer ones, just to show you if you're a little bit adventurous. But for now, if you've got it nice and smooth, then that's great. So coming down, I'm going to leave a few gaps this side for you to see.
It's mesmerizing watching other people doing it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, people often say that to me. It's sort of quite relaxing when you're demonstrating and they're watching.
Yes.
But I've never really appreciated it until now.
Sometimes you forget that people are watching you, don't you? You know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, let me get my. So you can see. Hopefully, you can see this.
Yes, it's as if it's got a sheen, a shine on it.
Yeah, yeah. And I did, that side is quite small. I put a little bit extra in there. And on this side, I started leaving some more gaps, but they're they're not veins, are they? They are just some shading on the outside of the petal, you know, the leaf.
Yeah.
So the world's your oyster, really. I'll do a little bit more on that now, and then I think I'll introduce. Let's go to the number 4 Groovi tool, and let's do this bit first. And I'll do this one smooth. Or if you've got the Pergamano 3mm, that's pretty much a similar size. So you can see now I'm not flicking the tool very far. And if you want to, close up a bit. And if you want to highlight one side of your vein, you can go up a little bit further. So nice small embossing on this side. And
wow.
On this side, I'm still not pressing very hard. I've still got the same. It's a bit like stroking it rather than pressing too hard. And this, if you do it that way on this mat, you'll get really good results.
Yeah, you can really see the whiteness starting to jump out now. Wow.
It all depends really what look you want on your leaf, you know.
And it's amazing to think that this was taken from just one section of the paisley plate to create this.
Yes. So can you see the difference between the two sides?
Yeah.
You've introduced shading, but you won't mistake it for a vein because your veins are grey and your shading is a paler grey. Okay, and that side is small. It really all depends on how you want to make it, you know. And a finishing touch, I quite like finishing touches. It makes a difference between something good and something mediocre. So on the tip, I'm going to use, I've got a 3mm here, or you can use your 4. Let's whiten those tips a bit. And I'm going to use the 1.5 just there.
So I'm guessing the smaller it gets, the even less pressure.
Yeah. And if you've lost the tip of your leaf, you can actually put it in. And you can curve it a bit, so just a little finishing touch, you know. There we are.
Wow. That's
okay.
Yeah, that is. Words escape me. It's amazing how you've really broken that down to show everyone at home exactly how achievable it is. With just it's just those little tips, isn't it, that can really make a difference.
Yeah. What some people will do as well, on the front, you can actually. No, I don't. I personally don't do this. You can actually emboss your vein on the front. So
like a
if you had field vision, you'd be able to see how much that has gone in there. So my leaf is shaped. It feels like a leaf. If I was to run my finger over it, it goes up there, down there, up there.
Oh, so because you've done the deboss on the front, I suppose it's like when we've done in the past where we've created a design and then we've perforated in the background.
Yes, that's
right. That pushes the parchment down, but the design up.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So if I bring this one in where you can see, look, there's your leaves. I haven't embossed from the outside edge in, but it does. The eye tells you. I mean, this. If you look at this, for instance, this fuchsia, that petal is actually removed from that one. If you look closely, there's a big gap there, but the eye tells you that it belongs to that, and there's a shadow there.
Wow.
And the thing is that on the daisy, there's a shadow there. So it could be construed that these are part, not part of it. But because that bit is dark and that bit is really, really light, it shows where the light is hitting the petals. The petals, You should aim to get bright white next to grey. That's a good tip, really. So light next to dark, because if you put light next to light, then it's not going to propel it forward. So on this one, you can see it's a little bit whiter there than it is there. So that leaf comes forward. The whiteness propels the tip of that forward, and that's the grey
background
to the back. There we are. There endeth the lesson. Okay.
Wow, that was amazing. So I'll let you switch your camera. Yeah. Excuse me. Wow, I'm just sort of blown away. And I mean, mine is still a work in progress. And again, we've now got choices to complete our project, haven't we? Because what Linda has given us 2 different styles of that shadow work. So this was the one that we looked at last week, where you've got the light at the bottom and the light at the top. And then this one here is how it creates it more as a leaf. So when we look at our project that we sort of started the other week, we can now decide within those areas what option we want to go for, whether we want to go for the light at the top and the bottom, or we want to create more of a leaf effect. So I think what we'll do from next week, I think homework time, I think people at home can decide which option they want to go for to complete their 4 pieces. And then next week, to complete this actual project, we'll put some colour in the background. So we'll do some dorsing with the crayons or the pencils, because we can do that with both, can't we, Linda, with the dorsing?
Definitely. You can use them together. They work quite well hand in hand, Yes.
Right, okay. So for next week, what we'll do some dorsing next week to complete that project. And then Linda's already given us a heads up on what she thought would be some really nice designs going forward. Now, I've put some special offers on these 2 plates on the website. So we've got Linda's 1, 2, 3 butterfly plate. So you've got the gorgeous butterflies, the lavender, the mallow. So we've got this one here, and then we've also got the dragonfly. I love this water lily. I think for me, the white work on that would just go ping to create that beautiful effect. So
it's
which
a
one
very
do you
easy one to do, you know. The 1, 2, 3 plates, I designed those so that they were for really essentially for beginners. So you've got the bigger image is easier to learn on. The smaller, and then you've got the medium and the small. So it's a bit more difficult to get the shadow embossing on the really small ones. You can do, but you can't really learn on those. You can learn on the bigger one. I didn't give you a whole butterfly, just a little sampler to have a go. And they can create lovely cards. You can use the 3 images on one card. So there's quite a lot of them, but this one, particular one, is one of my favourites. So
yeah, because we showcased the wildflowers in the one-day special last week, didn't we? With the poppies. Yes. That's a beautiful one as well.
Yes, they've been very popular, these.
Well, I think they're nice because, I mean, not only is the artwork beautiful, but as you say, they're a guide to help with the various different processes, from the picot cutting, the white work, the colouring. They're a real sort of learning plate.
I've got a sample here, and I think
have you?
We might do this, Paul. We'll some people might have seen this with me before, but
yes.
I think we might have a go at these butterflies. What do you think?
I think, wow, I think that's gorgeous.
We've got the shadow embossing, not too much. So on that one, you can see we've gone from one end in and the inner bit out, and then we've got some shadow embossing there, some and there. And then we've got just a little bit of colour on the back. It can be quite, it's stunning, really, when you think with just a couple of ball tools and one coloured pencil, on a Groovi plate, you can produce something like that. So you've got the solid embossing there. It all depends what you want to do with it, isn't it? So we could perhaps make that centre part. We could use the
nested squares to do that.
Nested squares, and then we could put butterflies in. What do you think? Yeah?
I think that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
And then just to finish, just before we go, we've got a fantastic show coming up on Thursday with the Pergamano. Everyone will be familiar with the It's a Wrap collection from Linda Williams. We've got the butterflies, we've got the dragonflies. They're just so exquisite, and Linda has really worked her magic on this next collection. So I'm going to give you a sneaky peek of what's coming up on the Pergamano show on Thursday. And I saw these samples, and Linda has very kindly prepared these samples and these demos for me. The time and love that's gone into this is absolutely gorgeous. And what you've got is the beautiful design that wraps around the back. And then Linda worked her magic as well with these gorgeous stands, so that when you take the plate, the card, let me swap around to this camera. We've got a special visitor in the room as well. There we
go.
Hi, Linda.
Come on in.
How's it going? I can't hear you. You want to say hello?
So this is one of the cards that Linda has taken the time. For me, I feel so honoured and special to be able to showcase this on the craft store on Thursday. So this is going to be the demo for the 11 o'clock show. Okay, I mean, look at this. To have and to hold from this day forward. And then in the 3 o'clock show, oh, I love this one. This one. I mean, Lynn Jackson has helped with these as well. Look at this. Wow. So this shows that, again, you don't have to do it as a wraparound. You can create a solid heart. So let me show you the plates so you can sort of really get an idea of what you're going to be getting. So let me do it this way so you can see. Let me zoom out a little bit now. So when we look now, it's a beautiful A4 plate. Linda's done all the hard work for us, given us all the beautiful design, given us all these different elements to it so that you can incorporate. I mean, this makes a gorgeous frame. If I bring the blue card in, you can really see how that element there to create the inside. And then in addition to that, we've got the heart stand, and I love this for, again, all the different elements. So this is an A5 plate. So this will allow you to decorate these gorgeous stands that have got little hearts cut out of them. And these are for birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, so many different occasions. And then Linda's also very kind. Look at this sample. Look at that. The colours. Absolutely amazing. I was absolutely blown away. I just hope I can do it justice on TV. So you're going to get those 2 plates that we've just looked at. You're also going to get the double-sided inspiration and assembly sheet from Linda as well. It will come with card blanks. It's going to come with the heart stands, envelopes. So it's a complete kit to get you going. And that will be at 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock on Thursday on the craft. So, Linda, just a few words from you about this design.
I think this probably is my favourite, actually. It's so versatile. Everybody loves hearts, don't they? And I like the Lily of the Valley. It's such a sweet little flower. It's lovely. You can make so many things with this, plenty of flat cards. Can you show the blue one again, Paul? Show how it wraps around the back.
Yes, absolutely. So we've got the card here, and then it wraps around. Now, you've done something special with this one, haven't you, Linda, in relation to the attachment?
Yes, I've actually, it's an old purchase trick where we used to have wraparound cards. We always did wraparound cards. We didn't use toppers or anything. And we used to sew the card in at the spine. So I think it's a bookbinding technique or something. It's easy to do. Little tiny bit fiddly, but it's much better when you've got a wraparound card than sticking it. Because if you stick it, you've got to stick it in exactly the right place, and it does tend to move a little bit. Whereas if you sew it at the spine, it's there. It's not going to go anywhere. So I'll show you how to do that at some point. Are you going to do it on the show, Paul, or shall we show it?
I'll let you know on Thursday.
Yeah, all right.
Linda, you know what it's like when we do the Groovi and the Pergamano shows on TV, how time just flies. I mean, this hour has gone so quickly as well. And it's all about sort of showing to the best of my ability of what you and Lynn have very kindly prepped for me. So if we don't get to sort of the assembly stage on that particular one, then maybe we can do that in one of the future Groovi Tuesdays.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So I just want to say a very big thank you to everyone for tuning in, and more especially to the lovely Linda Williams. I just get blown away. Just so much talent, and I'm always learning. And for me, that shadow work, I preferred what I did last week over this week, but I think that's just a confidence thing, and sometimes just having the right mindset as well.
It's a matter of choice.
Yeah, and you've given us 2 different options there, which are really, they are achievable. It's just that time process, isn't it?
And I think I've stretched you a little bit today, but you've got to stretch yourself, haven't you? You can't keep on the easy all the time, no.
Absolutely, because that's all about the learning process, isn't it? If everything was easy, why would you be doing it? You want to sort of just push yourself, and that's one of the great things about the Groovi journey, is that you go at the pace you want to, and you stretch yourself when you want to as well.
And you go as far as you want to go. If you don't want to do the veins, don't do the veins. It looked equally as nice as the one that we did last week. So Linda's going to have a week off next week. She's got lots of secret projects on the go. Work to do, yeah.
And so as we said, so next week we're going to just add some colour. So if you can do your homework between now and next week. I mean, if you don't want to do the white work, just take one of the designs and infill it, or just leave them open. It's entirely up to you. There's no rules to say you've got to do this, you've got to do that. We're just here to guide you through that process. So so a massive thank you to Linda for this week
Pleasure.
and last week.
All
And
right.
I'll see everybody on Thursday on the craft store, so I hope you can tune in and join me. And it's back tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the shack with Barb and those gorgeous pop-it postcards. So until then, we'll see you next week.
Thanks,
Take care.
Paul. Bye.
Thanks, Linda.